Hi everyone, Simon here with a review of Raji, an ancient epic. Raji is a action-adventure platformer of the 3D variety, although told from a fixed camera perspective, and it's available for Nintendo Switch, Xbox One, PC and PlayStation 4, and it's a PS4 version you see on your screens. The game takes place with you playing the titular character, Raji, and your brother, who is younger, Golu, has been kidnapped by demons at the beginning of the game, and you will be playing as Raji, fighting across various different worlds and locations to get your brother back. It dives heavily into Indian mythology and folklore, and that was really one of the big kind of ooh moments for me, because it's not really an area that we get to see discussed and dived into too much in gaming as a whole. So particularly when you're playing with a game that is fundamentally a hack and slash platformer, being able to put in a unique twist on gameplay and lore and building a world around you that feels unique and fresh, along with some fantastic visual design, can go an awful long way to making a game feel unique and overcome perhaps some of its shortfalls that it has. And that is absolutely the jewel in the crown of what Raji has to offer. The world is vibrant and gorgeous and beautiful and vast, and the way how the fixed camera, which might probably annoy some people, showcases off like the beautiful waters with the massive koi fish swimming around in it, the way how different structures have kind of fallen into ruin over time, and the way how like the sunrise shines in and illuminates different parts of the world as you go through, I think makes Raji an absolute treat to walk through and be part of as you discover all of these evocative and luxurious looking locations. The story is also fantastically told as well. Whilst you play as Raji and you get to hear from her as she kind of gives her wrath of war as she fights off all the different demons, you're also getting a narration from the deities who are following her as it goes, and the interplay of that's really cool. So Raji's story is told not only through the levels that you get, but through shadow puppet cutscenes that take place as they happen, and they're beautifully put together. But then you've got, like Vishnu is one of the deities that will narrate over your journey, as different deities decide whether or not you are strong enough to actually get Golu back and fulfill your quest of a prophesized adventure that is taking place. And that was really cool because they're kind of having their own like story play out over the top of what's going on with you. And what's beauty with that is that although Raji doesn't necessarily directly talk to these deities as things progress, she might pray to them and then they'll be like, oh, see, she's good after all. And I really like that kind of, it's not third wall breaking or fourth wall breaking, but it's circular, and I really like that kind of storytelling. And that really then plays into how the game works as a whole, because although it is a platformer and a hack and slashy style thing, that is probably the least polished area of Raji as a game as a whole. The platforming works really well. Raji can run, jump. She's not going to like run and jump off of the sides of stuff. She'll kind of balance on the edge, so it's nice and fair there. But she can also wall run. She can like run and climb slightly up a wall and then like jump to reach something. So she's very Lara Croft nimble. And although she's quite floaty in the way how she moves, she's very gymnastic, and there's like a flourish to everything that she does, and I really appreciated that because she can move nimbly around as she goes. The hack and slash battling kind of works almost like rock paper scissors in a way. You've got different weapons that will come unlocked as you go through the different levels, and they're all attributed to a different god or deity. Sorry, you're probably going to pick up my phrasing of that word. Never mind. And so like Vishnu has a bow, for example. Shiva brings ice magic to the weapon that they produce as well. And you've got light attack, a strong attack, a block / defense. But then you've also got like special power orbs that you can collect or recharge at different totem poles that will then let you unleash like a ranged attack. But there's also kind of offsprings away from that. So if you do a wall run or you run up a pillar, then you can kind of jump off of that and perform like a smash light or a smash heavy attack, depending on the ranged radius that you've got. Now, these attacks will take a little while to power up. So in the meantime, whilst you're kind of going through that short or long animation, the enemies can get to you at that time and potentially cut you off and harm you. So your beauty of that is basically working out, do I shield, do I dodge or block? Or when do I then go for that attack? So it really asks you to be quite balanced. You can't go in and just hack away and hope for the best. You need to balance that attack and defence. And I really liked that with Raji as a character and the interplay around it. Because she is quite nimble and floaty, that does then sometimes mean that you don't necessarily have the precision and connection that you get to it, because it feels like a ballet dance sometimes rather than an actual battle. And particularly when you start to use like magic orbs to upgrade these weapons that you have, so that you can have like lightning or fire bolts that will kind of come out and chain things up together, or like a meteor that can come down and smash like for a ranged attack, then you start to get into hopefully A, chaining up stuff, but it B, it then starts to not feel quite as well honed as what you may hope from some of the best examples of the genre. That being said though, it never feels like it's got collision detection issues or problems around that. Sometimes it's more around, because there's so many environmental things that can take place in a small arena, because it will always lock off where you're battling so that you can only move in a small location. Sometimes Raji kind of starts doing things that you don't think she's going to do, because she'll like spin round a pillar and you're like, no, I wanted you to jump up the wall. And that's kind of the only really clunkiness that I found with Raji as I was playing through the game. Did it affect my enjoyment? Not really, because I was so engrossed and desperate to find out more about this world and the way how it unfolds in front of you. The battles didn't really feel like they were a chore. And what I really liked is that each world and each weapon offers you a different way of going around and doing things. So like when you've got the sword and shield, you have to get in there and be messy, but you can use the block to try and time things for when you've got the faster enemies around you. Whereas you then get out the bow for the birds, because you can keep that as a long range to distance and attack. There were some really cool puzzle mechanics that kind of came out as well. Lots of them are around shifting and lining up totems or like spiral images so that they uncover story beats. There was also some other stuff around kind of traversal and getting around lily pads without them being eaten up by koi fish before you can cross them. Nothing was ever like taxing, and you can kind of fluff your way through most of the puzzles without really knowing. And whilst you can argue that that didn't really give you a challenge, again, I think this is very much around a low bar of entry so that people can enjoy the folklore and storytelling in the world that you're in. Things that I would have liked, perhaps, would have been some kind of like photo mode where you could take the camera out of its fixed mode so that you can take some photos of the game, because I think it's absolutely gorgeous. I'd also like to be able to hear some of the soundtrack outside of the game. I believe the soundtrack is now sold separately as well, because it's beautiful. The voice acting works really well here too. And the other thing that I would say is that because it auto-saves constantly wherever you go, one of the interesting things of the game is that whenever you restart the game back up again, it drops you straight in where you left off. And you can't have multiple save points, so you're going to have to go and complete the whole game before you get any kind of chapter select and be able to go through and play stuff again. And I'd like there to have been some different save files so that you could switch between. Although I do like the fact that the game just opens and you're kind of sleeping where you last were, and then when you press start to restart the game, she just kind of wakes up and gets up and is like, okay, I'm off on my adventure now. But overall, Raji is an absolutely beautiful game to play, really engrossing, fantastic story playing. And whilst there is real fluffiness around some of the combat that takes place, and the puzzles are not going to stretch your imagination by any means, I appreciated that low barrier to entry because it kept me on a story-focused adventure that I just wanted to find out more on. A written review for this will be over on higherplanegames.com over the weekend. Until then, you guys take care and happy gaming. Hope you enjoy. Bye. Higher Plane Games is part of the Higher Plane Network, a collection of media projects ran by me. If you like what you see and want to find out more, visit patreon.com/Higher Network. Your support can make so much more possible, be that a like, a comment, a share, or a pledge. Thanks for watching.